Thank you. Happy Pride, everyone. I want to say a special thank you to Malcolm for that introduction. His energy, his excitement truly have brought a strength to our party that will help us keep winning, not just in the rest of this year in some special elections, but also in November. Thank you very much, Malcolm. Thank you. Thanks also to Ken Martin for his leadership, for all of the DNC leaders that are here, and of course for our gala co-chairs, the indefatigable Claire Lucas, thank you. The legendary Andy Tobias. Thank you so much for the pageantry, the super talented Bruce Cohen. I want to say about Andy just for a second that this event, as many of you know, truly is just one part of his incredible legacy with the DNC. You have changed the trajectory of this party due to your dedication. Thank you for everything that you have done. And to my friend, precious Brady Davis, you have done extraordinary work advancing environmental justice, and as the first black trans woman, well, to be elected in the country, but also the first black trans woman, of course, to serve on the Metropolitan Water Reclamation District Board. And in that role, you have shown all LGBTQ plus Illinoisans and all Americans that excellence in public service is the only qualification that matters. Thank you. Folks, the Stonewall Uprising in 1969 beats in the hearts of every American who believes in justice and freedom, all of us who understand the meaning of the fight for human rights and the struggle against the tyranny of hatred and bigotry. In 1924, that struggle first became public when our nation's first known gay rights organization opened its doors in my hometown of Chicago. The Society for Human Rights was founded by a German immigrant named Henry Gerber, who appointed as the group's leader an African-American clergyman. And less than a year later, the police arrested several of its members, and the society was forced to disband. But Gerber never gave up, despite that he was arrested and tried 3 times under the anti-LGBTQ laws like the sodomy law. And I'm proud to say that in 1962, Gerber lived to see Illinois become the first state in the nation to repeal the sodomy law. Seven years later, Stonewall sparked the national gay liberation movement that led to the first gay pride marches in 1970 in New York and in Chicago and in Los Angeles. Now, more than ever, we need to remind ourselves of our shared histories and rekindle the bonds that we once forged in the face of tyranny and injustice. That fight against tyranny was forged in me early in my life because my mother was an activist for reproductive rights and for LGBTQ rights in the late 1960s and 1970s. And she took me to pride parades back when, well, they were really protests, not celebrations. And so I laugh when I hear the right wing carry on about the dangers of exposing kids to trans people or same-sex couples. I'm living proof that if you introduce your kids to the gay rights agenda, the danger is they might grow up to be governor. So my mother marched and she fought in a time when the advances in LGBTQ rights we've seen in the last 20 years would have been unthinkable. But she understood something important about the legacy we leave our children, that the greatest thing that a parent can do for the next generation is plant seeds of freedom with the hope that one day their kids can take refuge in the shade of a fully grown tree. What is so dangerous about the moment that we find ourselves in right now is that we are watching the most vile and cruel people in the country take an axe to the trees planted and nurtured by the most courageous of Americans. With enough force, a redwood that took centuries to grow can be felled in just a few minutes. I have always embraced the norms and the rules of decorum that have governed our democracy for 250 years. And as a Democrat, I believe that even when some on the other side of the aisle would periodically toss those norms to the side, we had a responsibility to try and maintain the guardrails of our public discourse. Many Republicans used to believe that too. I maintained that posture of decorum through the first 2 years of my term, which were the last 2 years of Donald Trump's first term. I maintained that posture through the entirety of the COVID pandemic. I maintained that posture through the 4 years of the Joe Biden presidency. I maintained that posture in November of 2024 after Kamala Harris lost and Donald Trump won. But despite my own experience with this president and my warnings to the public on the campaign trail in 2024, I hoped that some part of Donald Trump's cruel nature would bow to 2.5 centuries of tradition. For more than 10 years, ever since Donald Trump descended on that ridiculous gold escalator to announce his entrance into public life, I hope that the Republican Party would seek out and find its better angels. Hope is a delicate and wonderful thing, a telescope that allows us to see past the darkness. But hope cannot be blindfolded. And I won't continue to advocate that we wage a conventional political fight when what we really need to do is become street fighters. Let me be clear, Trump and his Republican lackeys in Congress and on the Supreme Court are looking to reverse every single victory that this community has won over the last 100 years. Make no mistake, they're coming for your right not to be discriminated against in the workplace. They're coming for your health care. They're coming for your marriage. They're coming for your right to have children. A month into the Trump administration, I gave my 2025 State of the State address. The rule of law was already being dismantled, and I felt compelled to say, the authoritarian playbook is laid bare here. They point to a group of people who don't look like you and tell you that, well, you're to blame for their problems. So I just have one question for you. What comes next? After we've discriminated against, deported, or disparaged all the immigrants and the gay and lesbian and transgender people, the developmentally disabled, the women and the minorities, once we've ostracized our neighbors and betrayed our friends, after that, when the problems that we started with are still there staring us in the face, what comes next? The White House is intentionally breaking our American system of government so that they can rebuild it in their own image. They're taking food and medicine away from families in poverty. They've shut down cancer research and HIV prevention. They've eliminated drinking water and clean air regulations and upended the lives of veterans. They've deported black and brown people while they're giving expedited immigration visas to white South Africans. Authoritarians target vulnerable minority communities first because they think that if they can conquer those that they deem weak, they can show everyone else who's boss. It really is ironic that today, on the eve of the 250th anniversary of our country, a man sits in the White House who is everything that the founders feared most as they launched their experiment in democratic self-government. an uncontrollable, narcissistic, authoritarian president who acts like a king. Trump sent masked federal agents in unmarked cars to Minneapolis and to Chicago before that, and more, rounding up black and brown people, neighbors and school children, moms and dads and citizens and non-citizens alike. He took a once booming economy here in this country and did everything possible to break it. At the White House, he tore down the hallowed walls of the East Wing and demolished the moral values of its West Wing. He looked at every symbol of the nation's democracy and thought, how can I make this into a gilded tribute to myself? His corruption is allowing him to do what he never achieved in his business career. He's finally making a profit. And Trump has turned 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue from the People's House to a nut house, where he's retreated to the last and only respite of the desperate and the damned, paranoid self-delusion. I know we Democrats are having a conversation right now about, well, how much we should talk about Donald Trump. Trust me, I'm just as tired as you are of having this man in our lives. But I don't think we can offer a solution for the future unless we fully and honestly confront what he's doing to this country right now. Because like it or not, Donald Trump is a reflecting pool of our politics. You can paint the bottom blue, but it won't conceal the polluted water above. What we do and what we don't do right now matters. It matters more than it ever has before. When my future grandkids look back on this moment, I want them to know that my voice was one of the loudest in the room, outspoken for justice and fighting against tyranny. Don't you want that for your grandchildren? In the midst of this existential fight, this battle that seems to consume so much, indeed everything, well, let's not take the soul-sucking path of sacrificing the most persecuted for that which we deem to be the most popular. I know that there are transgender people right now looking out at this world and wondering if anyone is going to stand up for their simple right to exist. Well, I am. We are. We will. And we want them to thrive. I know that amidst the ongoing assault on our democratic institutions, it's easy for people to fall into despair about our democratic system. But I love this country too much not to fight for it. You're here tonight because you believe the same. You love this country too much not to fight for it. And when I think about that love, I think back to all the times in our history when our ancestors had to fight back against tyrants and racists, and those who couldn't understand that freedom and justice are our foundational principles and promises in this country. I think of that group of people in Chicago who got together to found the country's first known gay rights organization. It's true that that flicker of light was very brief. It only lasted a matter of months before social persecution and criminal prosecution took the air out of its founders' hope. But oh, that flicker ignited something. By whisper, and then by word of mouth, folks around the country started to catch wind of the idea. And the journey began from Chicago to Stonewall, to Obergefell, to this very room tonight. When we say history repeats itself, it's not because the villains and battles don't evolve with the ages. They do, but the fight itself remains elemental. It's always men who would be king, blaming the suffering of the masses on those who look different or sound different or live differently or love differently. And since the dawn of time, the triumph of good over evil has relied on those who believe in empathy and kindness, summoning the steel spine needed to defend those values that by their very nature leave us vulnerable to attack. This community knows that better than any. You have lived and breathed this fight for generations. Our hope as a party, as a nation, lies in this room. The fact that we are here today means that we have the faith and courage that we will win the battles that really matter. When I first ran for governor in 2018, I started every single stump speech by saying, everything we care about is under siege by a racist, misogynist, homophobic, xenophobic president in Donald Trump. And I ended every single speech with a question to the crowd. Are you ready for the fight? Here we are again. Everything we care about in this nation is under siege. And I have to ask all of you just one question. Are you ready for the fight?